I'm like the Wolverine of celebrations. There we are. You ready?
Always. Hello and welcome to episode 100 of this single malt review. To those who have been with us since the beginning, thank you for sticking around. To those who have only been watching our material recently, thank you too for stopping by.
Please buckle in and keep all arms and legs inside the review for the duration of the ride.
It's been a good 2 years so far, and we've got something special for this 100th review.
Yes, for this one, our 100th review, we thought we'd sample something that probably only we can, because it's an old bottle, and even when it was a new bottle, it was probably one of the world's most niche. Which one have we got here, Dave, while I pour?
Well, our local whisky store, Whisky Galore, turned 10 back in 2013. To celebrate that, Adelphi independently bottled a 20-year-old Longmorn for them. This is Longmorn distilled in 92, bottled in 2012, and made available to us for the store's 10th anniversary in 2013.
Yes, indeed, and there was not a great deal of it.
This is bottled 160 out of
180, and that's not many bottles at all. If memory serves, this was either a puncheon or an octave, so a unusual cask and a very, very small cask. But I mean, good if you're a reasonably small enterprise as far as whisky wholesaling goes. But you want to bottle something of your very own, that's probably a good one to go for. But they're very, very rare, those particular casks. So they're lucky to find that. But Adelphi always there to lend a hand when you've got some bottling to do.
I have not seen many Longmorns, ever.
It's not a hugely common whisky. There is a Longmorn release. I think it's a 16-year-old. I haven't tried that one myself. It's one of these slightly complicated distilleries in terms of ownership and rights and stuff. I mean, it was owned by Chivers for a very long time until Chivers was bought by Pernod Ricard, and so technically it's a Pernod Ricard property now. However, there's a wrinkle there, as there is a wrinkle with a few things. Are you about to do it again, Charlie? You just set your bum down. The cat's about to make another appearance, I think,
yes.
So everyone brace, but I think we'll be
Possible
okay.
special guest appearance.
I think we'll be okay. Where was I? Yes, there's a wrinkle there in that Gordon and MacPhail bottlers, they have a historical, customary, legal right to bottle Longmorn and sell it under the original packaging, much like they have the license to do the same thing with, I think it's Glen Grant. You'll see some very, very rustic looking Glen Grant bottles floating around, bottled by Gordon and MacPhail, because of this historical legal precedent that they were selling it before the present company was selling it. And then this exists it crops up now and again in the Scotch whisky world because it is such an arcane institution. I think the most famous example is that Cadenheads is a company so old they have been selling whisky longer than a lot of the distilleries. So they are legally allowed, the only people legally allowed to sell Glenfarclas whisky with Glenfarclas on the bottle, while not being the Glenfarclas company, because they were able to prove legally that they were selling Glenfarclas before Glenfarclas was selling Glenfarclas. So they have this sort of historical gimme to what's otherwise a trademark name. It's a funny old world, the legalities of Scotch whisky, but anyway, there you go. That's why you might see more than one what looks like official bottlings of Longmorn.
In true Adelphi style, we have very few notes with this one, not even a descriptor of what kind of cask it was, or we know it was something small.
Judging by the colour, that's really a little ambiguous. It's quite dark, very dark really, but that could just mean it was quite an active bourbon, and given that it was a very, very small cask, that might not necessarily be the giveaway that it might be. We'll just have to go in and do a bit of whisky science to find out.
53.5% ABV, which is considerable for a 20-year-old. Oh, that aroma, that is lashings of sweet butterscotch.
What I get in Longmorn is a lot of butterscotch and a lot of brandied butter, sort of brandy butter pudding.
There's some sticky date pudding.
That's what I get.
For me.
Yeah, huge amounts of. It's a very, very puddingy whiskey. It's a very, very sweet whiskey.
Yeah.
Almost too sweet for some. It can become cloying quite easily at high strengths because it just does bring so much sort of unctuous sweetness to the party, I find. But nevertheless, we'll have a wee look at full strength and see what it's got. Although I should say the nose, really, as we described, brandy butter pudding, sticky date pudding, a lot of sweetness and spice and buttery richness is probably the nose in a nutshell there.
It's thoroughly clinging to the inside of the glass, so I'm expecting some hefty oils. Ooh, that is treacly, a little bit fruity and spicy, some feijoas and pears, a little bit of stewed fruit.
Just going with my gut, I'd say that probably is sherry wood, just because of some of the stewier, fruitier, kind of spicier things we're getting. But
fair heft of Speyside on the tongue.
But I'm not. I wouldn't want to call myself 100% sure just yet. It's pretty fiery at full strength there. It's not pulling any punches, but there's still quite a lot to be dug out of it. It's
engagingly complex though. It's got all those pudding notes we detected on the aroma, but the addition of a bit of fiery heat and lots of hot stewed fruit.
And there's a little bit of banana, fried banana that wants to come out, but it's just getting a little bit intercepted by the strength of that alcohol. So I'll just put a wee bit of water in and see if I can make that a bit more gentle without changing it too dramatically. Ooh, if anything, that's even made it more buttery. Possibly that's just cut down some of those rather more volatile, acetone-y, sweet spirit characters, of which there are a few.
Quite a long way. Ooh. As is often the case, that has enlivened a bit of heat on the nose, which was there before, but much more subdued. You spoke of fried bananas before. I have sadly never tried that local delicacy, but I'm getting some hints of banoffee pie for sugared bananas.
Banoffee pie is still there. I think the bananas themselves have rather made their escape as I put the water in. They're not something that usually hangs around once you dilute a whiskey, so that's a shame, but never mind. With this addition of water, I'm getting a lot more sort of confectionery sweets now, boiled sweets, sort of fruity boiled sweets.
I'm getting a little less of that. I'm getting more fruity wax, apple skins, a little bit of rind, the less sweet end of the fruity spectrum.
It's still very, very punchy. It's a youthful whiskey, despite being 20 years old. It's bringing a lot of heft along with all of its flavours. I think for all the water that I put in, I may have actually preferred it at full cask strength. Hard work as it may be, I think as I dilute it down, it's losing some of the buttery smoothness that it had.
Yeah, it's a lot of the
strength.
I liked those very weighty, very sweet dessert-like characteristics we had at the start, all the puddings and pies.
As it stands now, it's more of a fruity, refreshing whiskey.
A bit like a much younger Speyside.
But still very, very good. Goodness me. This is, as we've often found with these particularly characterful, strong single casks, the addition of quite a lot of water can change it quite transformatively. It's now gone from what I'd call as a wintertime whiskey to a summertime whiskey. It's very sort of fresh and fruity and refreshing now, where it was very, very puddingy to begin with. And I think given that we are encroaching on the middle of winter here very, very shortly in New Zealand, I may have just preferred it at the full strength, but never mind, we always have that option.
Adelphi has always have a knack for picking out single casks which are almost uniquely characterful and a journey of exploration just on their own. And yeah, it's definitely the case here. Several whiskies all in one, depending on your preference and how much water you want to add. Quite a fitting dram for the 10th birthday of our favourite local whisky retailer.
Yes, I suppose our favourite and only, so it's lucky it's our favourite. Yeah, that one's not bad. I think if it had maintained the sort of the buttery stance, the buttery composure that it had at the very beginning, and held on to some of that. I would like it a little bit more. However, approaching it as two very, very different whiskies, with and without water, then it's still a pretty sound choice there. Not that our recommendation means a great deal here, because we've said maybe not from some other quirky bottles we've tasted. This one, definitely gone. This one, gone, burgers, I'm sure.
Maybe probably some lurking in collections.
Oh, very
They
likely,
may
but-
show up on the market from time to time. Hard to say, though. It's been at least 4 years now since this one was released, so...
Scores-wise, this one's an 87 from me. By no means a disappointing whiskey. I could have asked a tiny bit more of it, but 87 from me. What do you think?
It gets an 89 from me. It's well up there. It's part of that score would attribute to just how unique it is. That's such an interesting contrast between the pre and post water edition, and in fact there's so little of it. It's tastes youthful once it's been watered, despite being 20 years old. When it's at that full strength straight out of the bottle, it's perfectly drinkable and delivers a big, profound and unique set of flavours and aromas.
No, a fitting bottle for a anniversary celebration, and it'll just about do for ours, for our 100th episode.
Yeah.
So, as Dave said, thank you for sticking with us. I do hope you'll... Is it fruit fly encroaching on mine now? I do hope you'll continue to do so. We've got some no expense spared little party poppers here to thrill and stun the internet. I'm going to do 3 at once. If I can. This may not work. I'm like the Wolverine of celebrations. Here we are. You ready?
Always.
Slanger! Oh dear!
Hey.
Well, that was better than I even expected. Sorry, Charlie. He wasn't prepared for that. At least he didn't jump on the table
The
again.
camera is a very startled cat,
But never
sniffing at
mind.
some confetti and tissue paper.
Mine didn't really make it very far. Never mind. This has been the Single Malt Review. We will be right back. Thank you very much.